Morning, everyone. My name is Peter Dille, and as mentioned, I'm the CMO of Tapjoy. And I'm very happy to be here this morning with Shiv Singh, who has got an illustrious career here in mobile. A lot of folks are just getting into the game, but Shiv is a real veteran here. So I'm just going to walk through some of his resume, going back a couple jobs, but VP of Global and Social Media Lead at Razorfish, then went on to be Head of Social Media at Vivikai. From there, Global Head of Digital at PepsiCo, and his current position, Head of Global Brand Marketing Transformation at Visa. Hope I got all that right.
You did it better than I could.
Okay, well, that's the beauty of the internet. So I think the title that you have now is really a very interesting and unique title, Head of Global Brand and Marketing Transformation. And given that many of your previous roles were squarely in the social and digital space, could one assume that part of what you're looking to transform is perspectives around mobile? And of course, the track here today is Visa takes charge of mobile. So I'm curious about what this transformation is all about.
Yeah, no, I think it's, can you hear me? So it's a really exciting job, and I think it's really credit to the leadership at Visa to give me this opportunity. So my job really has two parts to it. I define it as the don't screw it up part and the screw it up part. The don't screw it up part is that I'm responsible for Visa brand communications, so brand strategy and consumer communications on the one hand. Oh, thank you. And I don't think these microphones like that.
Are we live? Can we have sound? Testing, 1, 2. Thank you very much. There we go.
Thank you. I half expected it to turn off now that I was holding it. So I think there are two parts. There's the don't screw it up part of my job and the screw it up part. The don't screw it up is I'm responsible for brand strategy and brand communications for the Visa brand. And the brand is, it's a very successful, healthy brand. So my job is just don't mess with it. And then the screw it up part is, the Visa business is fascinating. And, one is the payments industry is transforming. Our consumers are transforming. We're all going mobile first. The Visa business is transforming because of mobile payments. And so they were looking for someone to come in and rethink and help them reimagine their marketing mobile first, because everything else in their ecosystem is going mobile. So it's not just about mobile for consumer sake, it's because all of Visa's future revenue is dependent on that too.
And I know it's just a couple months in now, right?
Barely 6 weeks.
Okay. So far, so good?
I'm still smiling, yes.
They let you come here. I guess I'm curious too. At Pepsi, I've seen some interviews where you were quoted as saying, the organization is so big, you had a chance to sort of get some things cooking, sort of off the radar a bit. And I'm wondering, Visa is also a huge operation, but must be a lot of eyes on what you'll be doing next. So how are you feeling about the first foray, the big stuff you'll be doing?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really the polar opposite of Pepsi. I'm excited that I have a lot of great partners in Visa to do things with them. Yeah.
Excellent. I'd like to put up a slide if we could here. We've got not a ton of slides, but there is one that I wanted to talk about. And this is a slide that I've been to, probably a couple dozen mobile conferences now over the last couple of years. And this is a slide that I've seen at literally every presentation I've been to. Do we have that slide? We don't have the slide. Okay.
If you could imagine.
Well, if you've been to a couple of mobile conferences, I'm going to guess that you've seen the ubiquitous Mary Meeker slide that speaks to the gap between the amount of time consumers are spending with their mobile devices and the dollars that have flown into mobile from advertisers. And again, as Shiv referenced, people have these phones with them and tablets nearly 24/7, and the time is just off the charts. And traditionally, advertisers sort of follow the eyeballs, and dollars flow into mediums where consumers are spending time. And yet, in mobile, we still have this big gap between all this time that is being spent and the dollars that major brands are dedicating. And so the question has been, what's holding us back? And I'm sure you've got a unique perspective on this.
Yeah. No, and how many of you are familiar with that slide? Yeah, we all use it. I call it the money slide, and I would use it when I needed to get greater budget for everything digital and out of TV. I say, look at the time spent. But I actually, it's bizarre to say this, but I have a really complex relationship with that one slide. So I use it when I need to get budget. But on the other hand, I do think that delta is there for a reason. And it starts with a premise, and the way I think about it is, I do something 8 hours every day. And I think it would be the dumbest thing if someone was advertising at me during those 8 hours, and it's called sleep. There's no one, I'm asleep. Don't advertise at me. Same way when there's, to equate, time spent in a medium directly with dollars spent, I think I would suggest, humbly if I may, that it might be a little simplistic a view on it. I think what's a lot more important and a lot more challenging and something for all of us to think about is whether we have the right kind of ad formats, the right ways to build a brand, the right ways to do direct response in mobile today. I would suggest that we're really just phase one in that journey, and it's only a few companies that have really broken through. I mean, you see it in Facebook. In a year, they went from 0 to 41% of all their revenue coming from mobile. It's because they figured out the medium, both as a user engagement medium and then also as an advertising platform. And I would suggest that not everyone has, and it's not just a matter of, the brands don't get it and they need to get mobile and put money in it because there's so much money being spent, and so much time being spent there.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get in trouble for that.
Not with me. We actually at Tapjoy strongly agree with that. And I'm not sure if everyone's in the audience is familiar with Tapjoy, but we run a mobile advertising platform. And we actually have a bit of a unique twist on it because we allow consumers to opt in at points in time in their mobile experience when they want to engage in ads. And then we reward them for that engagement with, if they're playing a game that has some virtual currency, we'll give them a couple coins in exchange for watching an ad or taking an action. And I think that from our perspective, this is a unique twist on mobile. There are others out there. But as an industry, I think we've been guilty.
ideation process, our creative process with advertising, mobile first, it's a little unfortunate, but a lot of us still start TV script first. And we start big idea first. And that phrase itself makes me bristle because you say big idea and you think about this one overarching concept that would work perfectly, on a 42-inch TV screen between your favorite TV show and not on, your 6-inch or whatever mobile phone device. So I think we need to flip that and force that alternative view of thinking with our agencies that then feeds back into the ecosystem, to the publishers, to the mobile ad networks, to companies like Tapjoy who are, using APIs to provide new kinds of value to the publishers and so on. So I think those two need to happen. I think rewards is one piece of it, but I think there's a lot more that we have to keep exploring and innovating on.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm curious just to spend a little bit more time on this phenomenon. Some of what we hear as an industry, too, is that what's holding us back is brands seeking greater measurement and tracking. And this weekend, there were a couple articles that popped up about Google perhaps coming up with an alternate form of device identifier or unique identifier that would replace cookies. And obviously, that sort of threw a bunch of folks into a tizzy about level playing fields and what's Google going to be doing here. And it's probably a bit early to get too carried away. But I'm curious your reaction just to the phenomenon, if you will, or the need to track these things so that we can effectively have a mobile ecosystem around advertising and providing a great experience. Yeah.
Well, so firstly, I was really excited just at the thought itself of having such a fundamental piece of technology that's not called a cookie. I mean, you can only imagine how I've had to explain cookies to my mother. It hasn't gone down very
Interesting
well.
that we're following Sesame Street and cookies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it just gets more and more complicated. No, so I think it's really interesting, and I'd say for a few reasons. So the first reason is to have true cross-platform, cross-channel measurement. I think that's hugely powerful, and I don't think we have it at scale the way we should today. And if Google is able to provide that, that would be immensely valuable because I think the measurement on the mobile end, and not just the measurement, the tracking falls behind. The second thing is we do know that sort of the cookie culture is a little broken at the moment. We don't trust it anymore. I was looking at this awesome website by Axiom a few weeks ago where they expose everything to you about what the sort of the cookie web knows about you. And I was looking at this profile on me, and only 60% of it matched me. The other 40% seemed like this alter ego of another person that was being paired up with me. So I think something that's stronger, that is more trusted, that gives users more options. So I like the idea of it being a 1-year automatic reset also, I think will be a lot better. The downside, which I think is something that needs to be thought about carefully, is this is really something that should come out of an alliance and an industry group, and maybe not necessarily Google alone or Google in isolation. I mean, I think, we love Google for their innovation and what they've done for our industry and for marketing in general. But for something like this to succeed, it really needs to be an industry-wide effort. So I'm hoping it'll become more of that. But just the cross-channel platform piece alone gets me really excited.
Yeah, I think I've heard that the IAB is looking into this as well, and I'm sure that they're sharing information. I guess the other thing that touches on something that you referenced is sort of the notion of Dayparts. And again, media planning used to be about, I'll reach someone and reading the newspaper in the morning, and then we'll hit them in the car when they're listening to the radio, and they might be watching television with the family when they come home, and each of those had discrete budgets. The thing, of course, about mobile devices now is that it's really the first device that you take with you all day long, and you can reach someone. So there's the opportunity to sort of flip media planning on its head, and rather than thinking about this as what percentage are you going to dedicate to your mobile budget, to rethink it to say everything you do should have a mobile component, and even your print ads might have a way to insert a code that you could interact with your mobile device, and TV ads can also interact in this fashion now. Is that something, it almost seems outside looking in that's a bit of the philosophy behind the Go and 6 campaign that Visa's running and sort of very mobile-centric, but curious for your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think what's fascinating is, so when I think about, mobile budgets as a percentage of total media spend or digital spend, I really, would humbly suggest that we've been thinking about it the wrong way. Because I feel on platforms that are mobile ready, that have advertising formats that work in mobile, you should go all in. So, what I suggest to my teams is, in the case of Facebook and Twitter, why would we want to advertise on the desktop? I mean, why? Why even think about it? I mean, and this was both, at PepsiCo and even at Visa. We know the user who's on the road, who's out of their house, who's going shopping, is 100 times more valuable than the one who's surfing the web, while at work to us, or who's surfing the web at 11 p.m. at night and just catching up on email and all of that. So why not go all in mobile? So I feel in some cases it's actually good to think about it as a zero-sum game, where you can go into mobile completely and the platform and the advertising works effectively, you should totally forget about the desktop. The other piece that I think is really critical is to really think about how location can play a role. And I don't think as marketers, and I don't want to be too harsh on my fellow marketers, but I feel I can be on myself, is I don't think we've begun to even tap into what location can do for us. And it really starts from a creative and a strategy standpoint, and then, of course, media planning. What I like about the Visa Go in 6 program, which I would love to take credit for, but I can't, it was done by Gideon and Nikki and others well before I joined, is it's built on very sharp daily insights, sometimes even hourly insights of what's happening in culture. And it's not, what's happening in culture of the type that, the Emmys were last night, we should go do something. Yeah, that's sort of common sense. I wouldn't say that actually classifies as true culture. It's things that are bubbling and surfacing to the top in culture. So that's first thing, really sharp, tight, daily, location-driven insights. The next piece to it is capturing that and transforming that into a piece of mobile creative that's designed for 6-second consumptions. So it can be 6 words, a 6-second video, an image that you can grasp in 6 seconds, because it's built on this insight that a brand in the newsfeed really only has a maximum of 6 seconds to make an impression. And then it's hyper-targeted with media that further enables it. And the program is having phenomenal results, across Facebook and Twitter. But it's really exciting. It's sharp insights, sharp daily location-specific insights that are driving really sharp creative that has good results.
Great. And maybe not to throw team members under the bus, but back to this transformation part of your role, it sounds like folks do still come up with sort of plans that say, well, part of this Go in 6 or this mobile campaign, we'll forget the Go in 6, we'll include desktop or things, and you sort of have to step in and say, go all in and just do mobile, let's not focus on the others.
Yeah, I think it's a new opportunity for us. A year ago, I wouldn't have said that necessarily. But I do think the mobile space has matured massively. I do think it's specific, though, to certain platforms where we feel, we will get the ROI if we invest on scale completely in them. But yeah, I think, that future awaits us. And what's really exciting for us is, when we think about mobile, it's not just about the advertising. It's, our core business is going to be executed through mobile. People are going to, with mobile wallets, transact through mobile. That's already starting to happen in more and more scale. So it's all of that comes together nicely.
Yeah.
I have microphone. There we go. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Any questions for these gentlemen? Sir, stand up. If you could state your name and what company you're from. I'm going to come on over to you as fast as I can. I got heels, so I'm going to get a workout. Here we go.
Hi, Seth Greenberg with Mobile at Ogilvy. I'm just curious, being that you're the being the head you're the head of marketing innovation, and we've been talking about mobile first, and we just mentioned mobile payments. Where do you really see that payment journey going on the mobile device? And is it going to be from the card networks that'll be driving it? Will be the retailers that are driving it? And if you could future sight it all, it would be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think it's a really, really exciting time. It's left It's still TBD who's going to be actually driving it, but what I would suggest, a few things we know are going to happen for sure. One is, your card or your card equivalents aren't going away anytime soon because, the underlying transaction needs to take place. We need to have an identifier of you to make that transaction, and that happens through our clients, the banks. So we're very confident that payment networks like Visa, we process 30,000 transactions a second, will continue to happen. I think on the other end, where we are seeing a lot of innovation currently, and I'd say the leaders is actually with folks like Starbucks and Apple, who are allowing for mobile payments to happen really quickly. I would say, interestingly, there are also folks like Apple who may be holding it back a little bit because they're closed loops. It doesn't affect our business because you still input your credit card details and you still use it. But I think there needs to be one big player, massive player on the retail end, or the platform end, or the product end, or the mobile company end that suddenly goes all in. And I don't think we've really seen that. We've seen folks like Google and Apple and, with Android and iPhone, they're dipping their toes in it, and PayPal as well, but no one has. So it'll be fun to see who really does. What I'm grateful about is that at Visa, you'd still use a Visa net, and we'd still benefit. Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
And for one more quick question and one quick answer. Gentlemen, if you could, or sir, if you could just state your name and what company you're from.
Ned Newhouse, Condé Nast. So I'm a former member of creditcards.com. We put a lot of thought in this, and it's a follow-up to the commerce question, which is the plastic that holds the mag strip or the NFC is just a means to an end. I always thought that would go away, that, and there's a lot of argument who owns that NFC chip inside that phone. And it seems to me the best, easiest point of distribution is for companies like you to provide NFC stickers, in which I can just slip and go. This way there's no argument who owns it, and you maintain, and card issuers maintain their relationships with consumers.
I'm not sure what the question is, but I mean, as a thought, I think it's a great one. And yeah, it's definitely something we should think about. Yeah, no, I agree.
Shiv, can you do me one favor?
Yes.
Can you say Natalie?
Say
Say my name.
Natalie.
Oh. One more time. Just one more time.
Natalie.
It's something about an accent. It got me the last time, it got me this time. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Let's get a warm round of applause.
Good job.